Standard SSRs are getting a buff in the 2.4 patch. How good are these buffs? Do they make standard SSRs viable compared to limited? TLDR. Viable? Definitely. But meta? Most standards still can't hold a candle to limited. But not everyone can afford to have limited weapons for all elements. So, if nothing else, these are welcome buffs for those who want to give off elements a try. Let's take a quick look at each of their weapons and their buffs. Huma gains some additional % max health scaling on her skill and discharge. Depending on your stats, this is the equivalent of around 200 to 300% attack scaling on her skill and discharge. But in the grand scheme of things, this won't change much, as you probably shouldn't be attempting to do DPS with Huma anyway, and for tanking, other weapons are preferred. King's S3 condition is getting alleviated to give the max damage buff with just 2 enemies instead of 3. This is pretty much useless because the only time you use King is in Bygone, where he is unironically not a bad pick even now, especially if you have him at A6. The damage of his discharge eruptions went up by almost 50%, which helps him do his job better. All of Tsubasa's multipliers went up. She has always been one of the highest DPS potentials out of standard weapons with her arrow rain, so this is a welcome buff for any FTP Frostcopers who don't have Alice or other options. Meryl's skill cooldown went down significantly, and the damage of her skill and discharge went up. Please don't use Meryl though, cause you'll trigger people's PTSD. Samir got her multipliers increased, more so for basic attacks than for her villain rain. However, most of her damage comes from her A1, not the raw multipliers themselves. As such, this turns out to be only like a 5% increase in damage for her. Crow's auto attack multipliers got buffed a solid 10%, which does make him a much more viable FTP-friendly DPS. To put in frame of reference, in an A1 team with Nemesis and Lin, A6 Crow and Samir are roughly equal, and around 10% worse than A1 Fenrir, without resistance in play. Shiro got all her multipliers buffed, even her dodge. As a character who was already competitive with Lyra as main DPS, especially for FTP, this makes her even stronger than Lyra, and better than pre-A6 Umi as a standalone unit. Finally, all Benediction weapons, Zero, Coco, Lyra, and Nemesis, grant a new effect, where if you have Benediction Resonance active, they give your whole party a 5% attack buff to their respective element. Zero and Coco now also have Elemental Resonance, being the only 2 standard weapons to have it. And that pretty much sums up the changes. Honestly, some of the most fun I have playing TOF these days is making the most out of my scuffed off-element teams in sequential, so I'm pretty excited for some of these. I'll see you guys later this week after Lon's numbers are finalized for an analysis of her. Bye bye!